Hello, good afternoon. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now with me, Vinny Motiwal, along with me, Cheryl D'Souza as well. Cheryl, a very good afternoon to you as well. And market started with a blingy note, again those record high levels, but back to those lows, again we every time see the change coming in the market in the second half of the day.
Actually, Vinny, a very good afternoon to you. And yes, we did start with that blink, but you also have to note that when we opened in the green, the jump was not that significant any which way. We closed at near record high levels yesterday, and today, the moment we opened with the green, we did surpass the previous record high level that we hit yesterday and marked a new record high level. But yes, the gains in the markets have been pretty minimal in today's trading session. So as you can see, we are trading pretty much range bound through the course of the day, just flip-flopping between the greens and the reds through the course of the day. But let's take a look at what the broader markets are doing and how that side of the market is looking like, given the fact that the benchmark indices are trading flat and broader markets yesterday outperformed benchmarks today as well, holding on to significant gains as you compare them to Sensex or Nifty. Nifty Bank moving in tandem with the benchmark. So that's the way how the markets are looking like. Almost only nearly 2 hours of trading session left, and let's see which side of the fence we end for the day.
Absolutely, surely keeping a close eye on that. But on that note, let's get started with all those individual movers in trade on the back of news flows or on the back of technicals. And on the technicals today, we are joined by Swati Hotkar, while from the research team, we do have Ankita as well as Lisa joining in with us. A very good afternoon to all three of y'all as well. Let me start then with the first stock that is in focus today, and we'll talk about Honasan Consumers. That's buzzing away in trade today. We saw Citi that actually came out, initiated a coverage on Honasan Consumer with a buy rating, target price of 550 rupees per share. What they're saying is that, Honasan Consumers is actually strengthening its market positions through innovation, growth acceleration, as well as they're expanding their reach. Also, let's not forget the entry that they've kept making into the subcategories as well. That will in turn improve the margins of the company and gradually improve the margins of the company. Right now, there are ad spends are much higher, but that will start rationalizing. There'll be an improvement in its operating leverage, which will start kicking in for the company as well. So because of that, they're quite positive on Honasan Consumers. They've given a buy rating. They believe the financials also will start seeing an improvement. They expect the revenue, consolidated revenue, to post a CAGR growth of 25% approx from FY24 to FY26. So let's keep an eye out on that. Citi giving it a thumbs up. As of now, the street seems like is giving it a thumbs up as well, Cheryl. Up 3 to 4% in trade as of now, Honasan Consumer.
Alright, let's shift focus then before we go to all the counters that are moving because of the AI jump, or rather the jump in Nvidia. Let's talk about banks then. And why are banks in focus in particular in today's trading session? Because Goldman Sachs has come up with a note where they've cut the earnings estimates for Indian banks under its coverage. They are saying that the period of strong growth and visible profitability is over for the financial sector in the near term. Therefore, what they've done is they've downgraded SBI, downgraded ICICI Bank to neutral from a buy rating, while Yes Bank to a sell rating from a neutral rating. They've also cut the FY25 earnings estimate by 5% on an average for the Indian banks and FY26 estimates by 2%. They're saying the proverbial Goldilocks period is now over for the financial sector. This is what the analysts have mentioned in their notes. So on back of that, you have to keep all the banking counters in focus. However, they've actually kept a buy rating on HDFC Bank while raising Bajaj Finance to a neutral from the sell. So entire financial sector in focus on back of the Goldman Sachs report. They're saying that maybe the Goldilocks period is now over.
That's the word coming in from Goldman Sachs on the banking space. But Swati, you have picked out Axis Bank, from the private bank side. On the charts, what's your view for Axis Bank? Where do you see it headed?
Axis Bank, the overall view on the technical front is really positive, because whenever we have seen that the stock manages to take a support of 1000 levels and shown us turnaround, as of now it is well placed above the important moving average, and I believe from the last 2 to 3 months it got stuck within the range of 1100 to 1000 level. Now it's just preparing its direction on the higher side. I believe that once it manages to give a positive closing above 1100 levels, at least for 1 to 2 trading session, a more upside can be seen into this particular counter, which may take a stocks towards to 1200 levels. So that are the levels I am expecting in the coming few weeks as well. So one can hold their long positions if they're having by maintaining a stop loss or say the support of 1050 levels on downside for a target of 1200 levels.
Let's move on and let's shift focus to another Birla company, and that is Vodafone Idea for you. Ankita, yesterday it was all about Grasim. Towards the day end, it was all about Vodafone Idea. And what's the news flow?
That's correct, Cheryl. Throughout the day we saw Kumar Mangalam Birla on TV, of course, for Grasim, and then later half was Vodafone, because he did allude towards, the focus being on Vodafone. And today we hear that, Vodafone Idea will be considering a fundraising at the board meeting on the 27th of February. Now, the company said that the board will consider and evaluate any and all proposals for fundraising in one or more tranches by the way of either rights issue, for the public offer, private placements, including a preferential allotment, QIPs, or through any other permissible mode of fundraising. And shares were higher yesterday also. It in fact it closed up 6% after Kumar Mangalam Birla, like I mentioned, said that they are committed to the cash-strapped company and was looking to rope in external investors. So as of now, Vodafone Idea is soaring away in trade, up 11%.
Okay, let's move on. And Swati, Capite Infra, that's the one you picked out on the technicals. What are the charts indicating for this? Should we expect a run-up?
Expect a run-up in this particular stock, because from the last few trading session, it was just, we have witnessed a profit booking for almost 283 to 238 levels. And now we have seen that the stock manages to take a support of 100 DMA and just showing a turnaround. So from the last few trading session or from last couple of months, I am witnessing that the stock is well placed above the 100 DMA and is moving on the higher sides. As of now, I believe that it has a potential to reach 280 to 290 levels on the high side. So definitely view is positive as long as this particular counter stays above 50 levels.
So focus then onto the railway side. IRCTC, Lisa, why is this one in focus today?
3%, and the reason for this is that it has tied up with Swiggy. Remember last year they had tied up with Zomato, and this is for the supply and delivery of pre-ordered meals to the IRCTC catering portal. Now, so the partnership between IRCTC as well as Swiggy, as per the analyst, it's a win-win situation for both these companies, because Swiggy will get a boost as it will see a steep rise in their demand owing to high traffic, but for IRCTC, the tie-up that will enhance the passenger experience, and this entity will leverage on Swiggy's robust network, and this will offer passengers a diverse array of pre-ordered meals. So that is why we can see IRCTC, it's trending up and up around 3% as we speak.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, and two stocks that we'll talk about, RVNL as well as Salsar Techno Engineering. Now, RVNL Salsar Techno Engineering's JV has emerged as the lowest bidder from Madhya Pradesh Power Transmission. The company said that this is a construction of around 132 kV and 220 kV transmission lines, and this is associated feeder base on a total turnkey project basis that is going to be in eastern Madhya Pradesh that we're focusing on. The total value of this project is 174 crores. The JV has emerged as a top bidder for this contract. So that is why we're seeing both these stocks buzzing away in trade. RVNL is up almost 1.7% as of now. Salsar Tech is up almost 4.3%, but that's a smaller stock. So yes, RVNL is a key to focus on.
Alright, putting the spotlight then on the most awaited AI stocks that are in focus today. One of the primary reasons why all the AI-linked service stocks are actually rising is also because the optimism around the technology after NVIDIA's blowout sales outlook that actually led to a record surge in the chipmakers' market value. So on back of that, you can see Happiest Mind is seeing very good uptick in today's trading session. One point in time, Happiest Mind was trading higher by about 4.4%, more since Jan 12. You had Emphasis that saw an uptick of as much as 3.5% or so on an intraday basis. Tata Elxsi, Persistent Systems. Add to the list L&T Technology. That one also saw a good uptick on back of this particular AI buzzword or AI fever that is, or frenzy that is going around globally, with the fact that NVIDIA actually yesterday added $277 billion in its market capitalization. That's the biggest in a market history. So yes, on back of that, all of these counters are in focus.
Okay, keeping an eye out on those names. They are surely buzzing away in trade, but we have more such buzzers in trade, and why are they buzzing also? So on that note, we'll slip into a short break, but stay tuned in because we'll be back with all the stocks that are buzzing in trade.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET Now, a show where we get you all the stocks that are buzzing in trade based on news flow and technicals. And talking about technicals, Swati, coming to you, let's talk about Cipla. How is this one looking to you on the charts? Because remember that there was a period where we only spoke about pharma towards the end of the year 2023, and most of these pharma counters were actually breaking out of a range. Cipla, to you, do you think now after some pause, will again see that move upward?
Among the pharma packs, Cipla is really looking very positive on the larger degree, say the monthly and the weekly chart also. Because on the monthly chart, the stock has given the breakout of a flat pattern which comes to at around 2050 levels, and from there onwards we have seen a almost new 52-week high which comes to around 1482. I believe that this kind of a rally is likely to be extended towards minimum 1600 levels on the higher side. So my view is definitely positive because the overall technical setup is looking very strong on the daily and the monthly charts, whereas on a downside the support is lies at 1350 levels. So as long as these particular levels are respected on the closing basis, the upside 1600 levels can be seen very soon.
Okay, that is Cipla, keeping an eye out on that and those levels there. But Ankita, Eureka Forbes, one more day of focus on this one. What's the news flow here today?
That's right, the one more day of focus again on the back of a block deal that has come in. Eureka Forbes promoter Advent International has sold a 10% stake in the company through the open market for approximately 979 crore rupees. Now, Lunolux Limited, that's a firm owned by Advent, sold 1 crore 93 lakh shares of Eureka Forbes for 506 rupees a piece. Now, the sale was at a marginal discount of for the previous closing price of the stock. Then the global private equity firm acquired a controlling stake in Eureka Forbes in 2021 by purchasing shares from the erstwhile owners, that was the Shapurji Palanji Group, at an enterprise value of around 4,400 crore rupees. And as of December end, Advent International through a Lunolux Limited held 72% stake in Eureka Forbes, and now they have already sold the 10% stake that they had. On the back of that news flow, Eureka Forbes is going to be in focus today. It is up 1% in trade.
All right, that is Eureka Forbes, but let's shift focus and let's bring on board the management of Godavari Power and Ispat. We have Mr. Dinesh Gandhi, who is the Executive Director, joining on the show with us. A very good afternoon to you, Mr. Gandhi. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. And first of all, help us understand how is the demand environment on ground, both when you talk about the domestic side of it as well as the global side of it. And also if you could tell us which all sectors are contributing most to the demand that you are witnessing right now.
Our major play is iron ore pellet, and that pellet goes into the secondary steel manufacturers. So it is more of an infra-related sector where our product is consumed, and there we are seeing good demand for iron ore pellet as well as on the finished steel side.
Right, so good afternoon. This is Vinny joining in the conversation as well. What we also want to know in terms of the China's property market recovery, that has been weaker than what was expected. Now, that is leading to a fall in the iron ore prices. So, what is your view in terms of where do you see the iron ore prices heading from here on?
See, iron ore prices, before the, holiday season in China was ruling at about $130. But because of the inventory at the port in China, as well as the demand has been weak after reopening, and therefore you have seen some reduction in the prices in Chinese market. But it is very difficult to predict China how the steel demand and consumption because of the real estate problem in China. But domestic market, there is a good demand for the iron ore as well as iron ore pellet, and majority of our products are sold in the domestic market. So even while the international market, there will be a fluctuation, but domestic market is more or less constant, and prices are ruling where it was earlier.
Right, sir. Higher coal prices actually impacted margins of sponge iron and secondary products in Q3. If you could kind of tell us, where do you see the coal prices heading from here on, and also consequently, if you could tell us how will the spreads of these products be impacted?
See, coal is basically required on the finished steel side. So far as we are concerned, our majority of the profitability and the volume is in iron ore pellet. But when we make sponge iron, that is where we are, impacted by the coal prices. Coal prices are slightly on the higher side, but the impact of that is only on the sponge iron production and the production of the finished steel side. So, we believe that whatever price increase is there in the coal, it is being passed on to the consumer. In recent past, also in last 10-15 days, we have seen some uptick in the prices of finished steel in domestic market, especially in the secondary side.
Mr. Kande, also the consolidated margins have expanded from 13% in Q3 FY23 to 25% in this quarter. How have the raw material trends been this time around across the products, and what is the margin outlook for the next couple of quarters or next year, if you could highlight that?
So far as again we are concerned, we are backed by the captive iron ore mining. Our pellet capacity, 75% of our iron ore requirement is made by the captive mines, and only to the extent of 20-25% we are exposed to the market. So our profitability, because of the captive iron ore mines, is on the higher side, and because the pellet realization during the same quarter last year was lower, and realization in the pellet in the current year has increased, and therefore there is an uptick in the operating margin in our case.
Mr. Gandhi, your company recently received an environmental clearance for expansion of iron ore pelletization capacity at Chhattisgarh. If you could tell us by how much will the capacity increase by, and also how will it aid financially for you all?
Yeah, so our present capacity of iron ore pellet manufacturing is 2.7 million ton, and we have got the approval for setting up an additional 1.5 million ton of iron ore pellet capacity. We would be starting the construction very soon for additional 1.5 million ton, and that is expected to come in production, in Q1 FY26. And there is a sufficient demand in the market, and this capacity of additional 1.5 million ton will be entirely merchant, will be sold in the market till our integrated steel plant, which we are proposing to set up, is commissioned in FY28. Till then, and after that, that material will be consumed in our captive steel plant.
Right. Also, talking about in terms of you have about an 800 crore net cash position, what are your plans for utilization here?
This case is being conserved only for the purpose of investment in the capex, like capex for the pellet as well as iron ore mining expansion. In fact, we are expanding our iron ore mining capacity from 2.35 million ton to 6 million ton in Aridongri. So the investment will be, the mine will be there. There will be investment in the iron ore pelletization plant, and future cash flow will also be deployed in the steel plant.
Right, sir. On that note, thank you so much for joining us on ET Now, actually, to share about what's exactly the outlook going ahead for the company and what's working and not working for the company. That was the management of Godavari Power. But on that note, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Market Fatafat. Stay tuned. When we come back, we'll continue with the journey of the stocks. Don't go anywhere.